Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on in once again to the Blue Collar Psychiatrist. Today, we're going to talk about time versus timing. A very important matter to consider in life. After doing a great deal of research, I've come up with a very brief definition of both. Time is like a clock. It is a measure of the passage of events. Whereas timing is the strategic use of the clock, doing the right thing at the right time. Time is not under your control, but timing is under your control. Timing requires assessment of a situation and then deciding how and when to act or not to act. It has been said that life is timing, and I think we can all see how that's true. Here are some examples, just a few examples really, of the importance of timing. When to approach someone, such as a boss or a person of interest. When to accept a job. When to quit a job. When to talk with something. When to talk with someone about something. When to start a relationship. When to sever the relationship. When to enroll in school, when to withdraw from school, when to buy a house, when to sell a house. Timing is everything in life. Notice that the same word repeats itself when we talk about timing, and that word is when. This requires a great deal of study, in some cases, and an assessment, assessment of a situation and all its ramifications. You could also look at it as a risk versus benefit decision. And then you have to act based on all the available data that you can collect. So timing really is, as I'm sure you can see, a key component of this thing that we call life. If you make the right decision at the right time, you will have a good result. But if you make the right decision, but at the wrong time, or a wrong decision, then your outcome is not going to be to your favor. So we can see how this element of timing is important. Obviously, if you have watched my videos, you know how I have reinforced time after time this whole concept of time, about wasting time, about saving time, and you will see this repeated over and over and over and over again, because once time has passed, you cannot retrieve it. And even in timing, sometimes you can make a change. Even if you've made a decision and have done something, sometimes you can backtrack and change that decision. But sometimes you can't. So this issue of timing is so powerful because it literally can control the quality of your life. Again, if you make the right decision at the right time, more than likely you will have a good outcome. You can only use or consider the available evidence that you can find and think about in understanding when, again, the word when to make a decision. How do we then deal with this whole concept of timing? As I said, we have to assess the situation, but that's only part of it. we then have to act based on the available information that we have. If we act, we don't know. It may be, even despite all the assessments and study that we have done, it may not turn out right. But one thing I can tell you is this: if you don't eventually make a decision, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. And that's not a way to live life. You have to make decisions in life in a way, just almost every day. You have to make a decision whether you want to walk out of the house today, whether you want to cross the street, whether you want to get gasoline in your car, or whether you want to go to the grocery store, whether you want to go to a movie, a ball game. Anything requires decision making. Now, you can't get hung up and stuck into studying and let this thing rolling around your head continuously. At some point, you have to make a decision. And that's where the timing comes in. Timing is so important that I have decided to make this video to emphasize this, because I've been talking about time for a long time, but we haven't really discussed the timing that is required in life, correct timing. Ladies and gentlemen, timing is really the backbone of life, because, as has been said before, our lives, to a great extent, are based on the decisions that we make or have made. Timing leads to a decision, whether it's right or whether it's wrong, and hopefully after much study, it is the right thing. But if you don't study it, if you don't assess the situation, and you do something rash, it probably will not come out in the way that you would like. Never forget how important timing is and how you must assess when. That's that word that repeats itself. When to do something or when to walk away from something. It can make a complete difference in your lives. Ladies and gentlemen, I remind you to drink and drink abundantly from the fountain of life. See you next time.